Okay, so this is the countryside interrupting my monologue. We have tractors cutting the grass. Luckily there's a footpath around the outside, so it shouldn't be a problem, although you won't be able to hear me. Let's watch the tractor go by. Alright, good girl. It's okay. Come with me, this side, good girl. There you go. Okay, well there you go. So you don't get that on GM TV. A bit of live action, cutting the grass. Nope, let me just move that out of the way. There we go. Come on then, Tills. Good girl. Thought I'd better pop her on the lead just in case. Although I don't think she's likely to go and mess with that, to be honest. Okay, so I was putting my thoughts in a row to discuss what I think about the current demise of our leader. To put it short, I think he'll hang on as long as he possibly can. By tooth, nail, claw, whatever it takes. But I'm of the similar opinion to most of the pundits on this, that he's the writing on the wall. He's not going to face He's not going to face the electorate again, unless he calls a snap election, which I don't know if he's actually got the authority to do, which he will lose. But there's just no way that he'll get enough support nationally. People are hurting and jarred off. There's not anything good. If there was something, if you could tweak something good in there, something changed, the war ended in Ukraine and and fuel prices fell through the floor, or there was some good angle he could leverage, he probably would escape, or he had the possibility of escaping. But as it stands, he doesn't. He's a rock and a hard place. There's no hour. If he escapes this one, then, as appalling a human being as he may be, he's certainly not. He's certainly an amazing politician, and I don't think that he's as. I think self-interest will get you so far, and then you need to have shown that you have the ability to actually do something, and he really hasn't. Not that I've seen anyway. I think his time has run out. And the rats are fleeing the sinking ship, quite sensibly probably, because the few that remain are essentially those who are so tied to Boris Johnson that their futures, political futures, are inextricably linked to his own. So let's be honest, nobody else is going to be offering Nadine Dorries a job in any administration anytime soon, and I would suggest the same would go for the likes of Dominic Raab, chap, Rees-Mogg probably as well, although he has a weird loyalty he invokes from people. There are a group of individuals who will defend Mogg to the hilt, in the same way they did Boris, in the same way they do. There's a Canadian Professor Jordan Peterson who people, something about them elicits a response from people who support them that is fascinating, that others don't get. So Rees-Mogg possibly would find some little niche in some other administration just to try and keep people on board, and he's busy quite happily out doing the rounds. offering his support for Johnson for the next 20 years, although I have a feeling if the Johnson administration fell, he'd just as easily separate himself from it. The others probably not. The likes of Raab, Patel, Boris, they are chaps that their future is tied to him. They won't be resurfacing. They don't have there's not a separate level of support I see for them. Their support is all intrinsically tied to Johnson. But certainly things are moving with more pace now. I guess he will, as I say, he'll hang on tooth and nail. The only way he will be removed is if the 1922 committee manage to reconvene and then vote to change the rules that they have in place about calling for a confidence vote. It's getting tight to do that before the summer recess. They may be able to. I'm not aware whether they can do that afterwards or not. But it's a consideration that they may be able to do that. But I find it difficult to believe he can steady the ship. He's getting to the point where backbenchers within his own party will start voting against him, I think, as a point of protest, which is kind of ironic considering what they've done to protest for the rest of us. On GMTV this morning, it was quite sad to see a chap with a banner who normally shouts his lungs off has basically been silenced. They've done it. He's not allowed to shout anymore. Silent protest. I mean, something feels deeply wrong with that. If you can't protest, then what can you do? If you can't peacefully protest but be effectively awkward, what can you do? Everything we've ever done seems to have been we've achieved. Everything our society has achieved has come, most of it has come through protest. Most of our rights, certainly. I don't mean anything we've ever done in terms of there's lots of achievements that don't require that, but certainly all our rights, all the things that we value. Women would not have got the vote without the likes of the disruptive protests that the suffragettes made. Suffragettes, I can't remember which way around it is, but they certainly they made personal sacrifice. I mean, one of them died throwing herself under the king's horse. Listening to Ed Balls the other day on, again, GMTV, there's a pattern emerging here. I mean, I can't listen to it if Richard Medley's on. He's yeah. What to say about him, that's a whole different discussion. But certainly the Ed Balls was trying to claim that the climate protests were not anything, that the protest shouldn't, I don't know what he was claiming, but it was just ridiculous. I mean, historically, every point he made, history has refuted quite nicely. Perhaps he never took a history class. If he did, he certainly wasn't paying attention. So, yes, in summary, I think Johnson's goose is, if not cooked, it's in the pan, and the heat is on. So, let's see. It may be an interesting 24 hours. It may not. I think it may, in all honesty, I think it's going to take more to get to that point. But time will tell. It could be an interesting conversation tomorrow morning.